look, it's Maile Flanagan.
Damn.
Hello, Maile Flanagan. Crispin was here before.
She did? Yeah. He did, I mean, sorry.
He was. So seeing as there's just no way I'm gonna...
Got it? Naruto, Uzumaki, and Sasuke, where? It's your brother.
Yeah.
Are you sad?
Not really.
Are you gonna try to ask her a question for him?
I'm going to ask them questions.
I'm going to make her say something.
First of all, I want to...
Freaking hyper. I'm very hyper. Everybody's like,
Where are the other two?
Maybe it's them that's sitting down. I don't know. Maybe they're like producer or something. I doubt it, but still.
That would also be really cool. I like the directors, producers.
Yeah.
They're actually really fun to talk to.
How they animate. That's something I like too.
The voice directors.
Yeah.
Really like.
That's what I usually look at.
Oh, he's all the way over there though.
Hi, Mama. Maile Flanagan. Maile Flanagan likes Starbucks. That's fun.
I thought her name was Maile at first. It's Maile.
Yeah, I thought it was Maile or Maile.
I'm just like,
now it's Maile.
It's Maile.
Maile.
I feel like it's Maile.
At least I won't look stupid when I ask for her autograph. How is this room not bursting?
Actually, there's not that many people here.
Compared to other places. Well, maybe it's not like as popular. I know.
Bienvenue tout le monde à notre conférence sur les voix de Naruto. Welcome everyone to the conference on the Naruto voices. I'll introduce our guest from right to left. We have Maile Flanagan. Crispin Freeman. Et pour les voix francophones, nous avons Manuel Tardos avec nous. Et Nicolas Charbonneau.
I don't know who the others are.
I know, I'm just talking directly. They're the French version of the voice.
Oh.
They're in the wrong room.
Yeah, they are, aren't
They
they?
just put them in the wrong. Vous êtes de l'autre côté.
Oh, we've been not there.
Messieurs, on va vous revoir un petit peu plus tard aujourd'hui.
Okay, she's
Ça,
dead.
c'est Flanagan. Bye, guys.
It was a quick one.
She loves it.
They did
No,
just
Naruto, that's just like her.
Sorry.
Yeah, actually.
So Maile and Crispin, it's only going to be you two this morning.
See you guys later.
Okay,
As
bye.
it was programmed.
Come back soon.
As people are still coming in, I'm going to let Maile go first and introduce yourself and tell us exactly who the voice on Naruto. For the people who didn't recognize the voice.
Are we filming?
I'm filming.
Yes.
What do you think? Oh, it doesn't move, does it?
The, no.
Oh, okay. Yeah, let's slide over.
Okay.
Yay.
We're just here doing that.
That way.
Believe it.
I like broke up moment.
Is that all right?
That's fine.
That's a little better. Okay. Hello. I'm Maile, and I do the voice of Naruto Uzumaki. Believe it! Which I actually have not said since like the 17th episode. But,
My God.
so, I know, right? Thank God. Not that I enjoyed saying it when I had to say it, but they told us that we couldn't say it anymore, which was, frankly, a relief. But I still say it at conventions because people ask me to say it, so why not?
Say it.
And I'll tell you more about me in a second, but Crispin, you go.
Oh, okay, my turn. Hi, my name is Crispin Freeman. I've been voice acting now in anime for 14 years. Is that possible?
Wow.
Yes, that is possible. And I've been working on all sorts of shows, probably some you've watched every now and then. I think some of you are dressed up as the characters from those shows. I obviously work on Naruto with Maile, playing Itachi Uchiha, the emo ninja.
Sasuke begs to differ.
Then, and lots of other shows like, let's see, I can just name them off the costumes I can see in front of me. We've got some Hellsing. I used to work on the scripts for Pokemon back in the day. Ghost in the Shell, Howl's Moving Castle, Eureka 7. Oh my God, so many shows. I can't remember all of them. You probably remember it. Which one's my favorite? Well,
Which one pays more?
they all pretty much pay the same, I think. Probably my favorite show to work on was Wolf's Rain. Where I got to play Tsume in Wolf's Rain. That one and Howl's Moving Castle, because working on a Miyazaki film is always fun. So yeah, those are probably my two favorites.
So I think we'll just open it up to questions.
Craziness.
For people who would like to actually ask questions to our wonderful guest, I'm right here with the microphone. I'm going to stand up. That's me with the microphone. You can actually come up to me, and I'll let you have the microphone so they can hear you.
Yeah, make a little
As
line
well as
behind
everyone.
it.
Yeah, we got someone here already.
All right.
Yay! It'll be civilized and whatnot.
So, well,
Or not, yeah.
Hey, thanks for coming out here. Nice to meet you all. So, what do you think about these characters that you played? I mean, Naruto's this attention for brat.
Just like me.
And then you have Itachi.
Attention whore, you can say it.
I did, actually. And then you have Itachi, who pretty much slaughtered everybody he knew and cared about, except for his
Just
own
like him.
Just like me. You see that the voice acting is typecasting.
Yeah. He's an awful person.
You have a family killing fetish.
Yeah.
Doesn't everyone?
So, yeah, what do you think of these characters?
I love my character. He's spirited, and the best thing about playing Naruto, as opposed to playing some other shows that I've done, like a lot of characters, Disney characters and stuff, it's like they're very pure, they're very, typical or almost stereotypical, and Naruto is like, he's bananas. I mean, it's like somebody who's on a sugar high and then they drop down below, it's like, ah! So it's a challenge, and it's really fun to play someone that can be so nuts, but then so sincere, and as an actor to play very poignant scenes, and then to play scenes that are just ridiculous, and then to play scenes that are very dramatic, and fight scenes and stuff like that. So I love the character, and it goes without saying that, of course you love his spirit, and that he never gives up, and that he's loyal to his friends, and all that kind of stuff. And I like that I can fly. And that I have a coffee filter around my neck.
I hate Miley's character. What I think about my character? Oh, my character. Yeah, I like my character. It's very interesting because when Naruto came along, I got initially cast as Ebisu, the crazy sort of perverted teacher.
Oh gosh, fail.
And so after I got cleaned up my nosebleed, they didn't call me back in to record for any other parts for a long time. And I thought, well, this is sort of odd. Why am I not playing any? Okay, any more phones go off? I get to answer them. For the longest time, they didn't have any parts for me in Naruto. And I go, did I do something wrong? Do I smell? Like, what's going on? And then suddenly, one day, Mary Elizabeth calls me in, and she says, we've got the part for you. And they call me in. And Mary Elizabeth had all these little pins, all those enamel pins of all the main characters, and she handed them out to all the main characters in Naruto. but she had one pin left, and it was Itachi. And Itachi doesn't show up until like episode 80 of Naruto. So she calls me for Itachi and she goes, Crispin, I've been waiting for 80 episodes and, you know, Pikachu, I choose you. And she hands me this enameled pin with Itachi on it with this little emo ninja. And I'm like, thank you? I didn't quite understand until we started recording the character. And I went, oh, I get it now. Yeah, this is my character. Let's keep going. So here I am recording Itachi, and very early on, you know, here he is, this evil guy who killed his entire family and his entire clan, and only left his younger brother alive, and spends all this time torturing him, and telling him he's too weak, and he doesn't have enough hate, and all this madness. And so fans would ask me, what do you think about Itachi? And I go, well, I think he loves his brother. And they go, no! Hey, he doesn't care, he's evil, he's bad. I was like, he thinks the lady doth protest too much. He thinks that, he thinks that, any guy like Itachi who's spending that much time obsessing over his little brother probably cares about him. Call me crazy. And then like a year or two later, they're like, dude, do you know that Itachi cares about his brother? I'm like, yeah, called it.
Told you.
Next.
Go. 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 Naruto.
You can come up and make a line if you want.
Yes.
This is kind of unrelated to the topic. It's more Helsing related.
Yay!
No, I didn't get a chance to ask you this yesterday, but I've been dying to know. I'm sure other Helsing fans are dying to know. Have you been recording OVA 5 through 7 and possibly 8? And if so, do you know when they'll finally be released up here?
No and no.
You haven't recorded them at all?
Nope.
That's depressing.
I haven't recorded them, haven't heard about them, don't know anything. And I will be the last to know.
Really?
You guys will know long before me. Well, sure, because they're going to announce it as a press release before I find out about it. Like, when we were working, there was a possibility, I just told you I'm going to answer that phone. Alright, hello, who's this? Hello?
There's nobody here.
There's nobody there.
No, I'm trying to put it on vibration. It doesn't work.
I guess so.
Oh, that would have been hilarious.
What the hell was I talking about? Water. I was talking about water.
Helsing.
Water.
Helsing press releases.
Helsing. So there was you may know the animated show Slayers that I played a character on. And there were rumors that there was a more recent version of Slayers that was done, Evolution and Revolution. And people were saying, oh, are you coming back to play Zelgadis? And I was at a convention, and literally Friday, a fan came up to me and asked me, do you know anything about whether you're going to be recording Slayers? And I said, no, I don't. Late that night, at like 11 o'clock, I get the call from the producer saying, it looks like we're going forward, we're going to record Slayers. I was like, great. And so they announced it the next day, Saturday, at the convention, that we're going to go forward with Slayers. I had known for 6 hours. And the fan came up to me the next day and said, you knew yesterday, you knew that you were doing Slayers and you didn't tell me. I'm like, no, I didn't. I had no idea, right? So you guys will find out long before the actors will, because they'll have press releases. Because as an actor, I don't believe that the show's going forward until they call the schedule of the recording session. And then I don't believe it until I'm actually in the booth recording the character. And then I don't believe it until they send me the check. And then I don't believe it until the check clears. So, you know, I literally will be the last one to know.
Okay. Well, I have one more request for my dear friend over there. You think you could say something along the lines, if I remember the quote correctly, it's been a while since I've seen OVA 4. Say something along the lines of, I've caught you, Rip Van Winkle, Alucard.
Oh,
Is that what the line is?
I'm pretty sure that's inaccurate. It's been a while, but something along those lines.
I've caught you, Rip Van Winkle.
Thank you.
Hi, this is mostly a request for Maile. Would it be possible for you to say I love Kimberly in your Naruto voice?
Yeah, I love Kimberly.
Thank you very much.
That was so hard.
For Maile,
Yeah,
who do you prefer, Sakura or Hinata?
Sasuke.
I knew he was Oh,
That's a no-brainer.
What do you do to gain character for each episode?
I eat a lot of ramen.
I snarf Twinkies.
You know, I've done like 352 episodes,
in Naruto voice.
maybe?
Yeah, I know too.
35 video games, a bunch of movies. So it really is sort of second nature now. In the beginning, you know, of course I'd have to kind of think about it, but now it's so automatic for me. And there was a long break before we started resuming Naruto Shippuden this last time. A long break, but in the meantime I'd done like 3 video games. So that was the longest break we've had in the 5.5 years. Wait a minute, 2004. Yeah, wow, 7 years. So that was weird, but it's still pretty easy to just jump right back into character for me.
Usually I go around and try to drink people's blood. Oh, Naruto. No, in Naruto I just go around killing everyone I see. In terms of getting into the character, usually all I want is a vocal reference, because it's very nice to hear exactly where we were the last time, so that I can match it. And sometimes it's even like mic placement, because if we were recording here, and then next time we try to record here, it's going to sound completely different. So I want to hear what the recording was, so I can know exactly where I am physically, and sort of figure out what the thought process was behind the character. So that's usually helpful. But someone like Itachi, it is sort of second nature. He's sort of breathy and emo, and add water and go.
Hi. I was wondering, since you do so much anime voice acting, do you guys ever like consider importance like taking some Japanese lessons to be able to pronounce the names and like the characters' attacks and powers? Do you think that's important to practice?
No. I do think it's important. The only anime that I do is Naruto. And in the I would love to, and I haven't, which is shameful, but I'm pretty busy. But they give us vocal references for the names and the pronunciations. What's funny is, and you'll know this if you speak Japanese or know Japanese people, like we'll ask one person how to pronounce the name, and they'll tell us one way. And then we'll ask a second person, they'll be like, no, you say it this way. So in a different way. So sometimes we get 2 pronunciations for the same names. I am listening to the Japanese in my headphones. So you pick up kind of phrases. But yeah, I would love to learn Japanese, and I think it would help. Although, for me, doing the character is about, certainly you have to be able to pronounce the Rasengans and, you know, anything like that. But for me, doing the character, I want to give it my own spin as much as possible, you know. So it's not as important that and we Americanize some of the names too, just because, like, you know, we don't say ninja, you know, because it would sound weird. It's like I'm talking normally and then, wow, I throw in that, and it would sound a little weird. But yeah, I would love to learn Japanese. Crispin has taken Japanese.
私は日本語をちょっと話します. So yeah, I mean, it's always a balance. On some Japanese shows, something like Cowboy Bebop, it's a very Western show, so you don't have to worry about saying "Spike Skiku" with a Japanese accent. But when you're doing shows like Naruto, where you have all these Japanese terms, you have to walk this line about, well, how authentic do we try to sound, and how accessible do we make it to an American audience? I always try my best to say proper names in Japanese with the correct pronunciation, because it always drives me nuts when I hear Kagome, because I think that sounds sort of silly to me. But you know, that's not always the call. I mean, we say Kakashi, and I want to say Kakashi, because that's sort of, and the director has to go, no, Kakashi. Okay. You know? So it just depends on the show and what's going on. When I'm working on shows, what I like about anime is that it's Japanese, and I don't want it to be American. You know, I don't want to turn samurais into cowboys. I want them to be samurai. You know, I don't want to turn rice balls and onigiri into donuts, which is what we always did in Pokemon. I'm like, really? Donuts? I've never seen a donut that looked like that. So, because I'm more interested in the culture, and for those of you who know my presentations that I do on mythology, you know, that's sort of interesting to me. But I do want to make the show as accessible to an English-speaking audience as possible. So, you know, it becomes ridiculous sometimes. I was working on Rurouni Kenshin, and on Rurouni Kenshin, we, you know, samurai fighting, and I had a sword attack. And my line in the show was literally, my Amakaku Ryu no Hiromeki is better than your Amakaku Ryu no Hiromeki. While that might be very accurate Japanese, it's completely opaque to anyone who speaks English and doesn't know something about sort of Tokugawa shogunate Japan. They go, what? You know, it doesn't allow you in. So I want the show to still feel Japanese. I want it to have the flavor of Japan, but I want it to remain accessible. And that's a hard line. You know, it depends on the show, how far are you going to do. You know, when you're doing a Chekhov play, do you have every character go by each one of their 3 Russian names, you know, and their patronymics and everything else? Because an American audience or a Canadian audience, people would kind of go, what? But to a Russian audience, that's very important. So that's the challenge of always trying to localize something. But I always do my best to make sure that, you know, we say Akira, not Akira, because that always just, to me it sounds disrespectful, but it's not like the Japanese say my name very well sometimes. So, you know, the big battle about Alucard, is it Alucard or Alucard? You know, it's Alucard, it's Dracula backwards, but, you know.
Thank you.
You bet.
Okay, when you guys are recording, in this instance Naruto, do you actually follow the manga, or are you really fans of Naruto? And if so, are you up to date on everything? Do you do your research on a certain type of character, and then try to imagine how that character feels in the manga, or how he will, does it affect the evolution of the character through the series?
I've read some of the manga, but there's so much of it, and I don't follow it. I haven't read all of it. We have a very good director named Mary Elizabeth McGlynn. She's a terrific director and actor, and she will explain the story arcs as we go, and tell us, you know, give us a summary of what has just happened, what happens. We move very quickly when we record these series, very, very quickly. So, like, I'll do 1 episode in maybe 2 hours, or maybe 3 episodes in 2 hours if I don't talk much. So, you know, it's almost like there's not enough time. I mean, I could definitely read the manga, but I generally don't, because I play the moment as I play the moment. And for Naruto, it's like, you know, I gotta get where it's coming from now. But I don't do other animes, so I'll let you.
I specifically do not read the manga. As much as I try to be as authentic as possible with the Japanese, I do not read the manga because I'm not performing the manga. I'm performing in the anime. And the anime usually differs from the manga. And so I want to make sure that I'm looking at the anime and making the anime work. And if there's something that's weak in the anime, you know, like there's a story thing I don't understand, if I then go to the manga and somehow it explains it for me, that's great, but then how do I make it work in the anime, right? So for me, I want to work in the show, and I don't want to cloud my interpretation of that show by reading another version. That's not going to help me. I'll read the manga after the show's over, but I'm not going to read it while I'm working on it. So usually what I want to see is the show itself. But with something like Naruto, we are working too fast, and there's no time for me to see the show itself usually. And so that's when we have to depend on Mary Elizabeth, who's a wonderful director. But with shorter shows, and especially if I'm directing the show, I will do my, wow, now suddenly there's a hum. I will do my best to watch the show ahead of time so I can plan it out. As an actor, it's a little easier. You can depend on your director more to make sure that they've got your back and they know how to help you through the scene. Because there's a difference between, as an actor, being in the moment and playing the scene and knowing the entire backstory of the show. The entire backstory of the show can be really good research, but you have to actually play the character in the moment, in the scene. And that's about who are you emotionally relating to, what's happening in the moment, And no amount of research can necessarily help your performance in the moment. It might help you make choices about how you perform in the moment, but that's why you have the director to help you make sure that it's working together. Because when we record one at a time. So we record one at a time separately, and so every actor's being laid down a track at a time. So it's like trying to record an orchestra, one instrument at a time. So it's up, and there's just no way for every instrument in the orchestra to know how we're all going to fit together. It's up to the director to make sure that Maile does her performance, and then if I respond to Maile in some way, that the two of us are going to work together. You know, there's no way we can work that out ahead of time in the studio. So that's why you sort of lean on the director. But yeah, people ask me all the time, have you read the Hellsing manga? No. And I won't, you know, because I'm going to focus on the anime first. Do I know what happens in it? Yeah, people have told me, and I have a general idea, just like I knew that Itachi loved his brother. But, you know, like, because I've been doing this for a while. But yeah, so the manga I read is actually usually shows that I'm not working on. So, you bet.
Okay, this is for Crispin Freeman.
Okay, bye.
It's not Naruto related, but I wanted to know what do you think of Albedo from the Snow Saga, and did you like playing him?
He just needs a hug. Albedo just needs a hug. It's very interesting because Albedo was one of the first major video game characters I had ever played. I started working in anime primarily as a voice actor. And then what happens when I got to LA, a lot of the anime recording studios were also doing video games. So once they realized that I was, you know, pretty good at this anime thing, they said, hey, do you want to come audition for these video games? And one of the earliest video games I auditioned for was Xenosaga. I was not aware how popular the game was. And when they had me audition for this crazy villain, I just sort of went for it and did the best thing that I could. And I remember recording it going, wow, this guy's nuts. But, you know, I'm just doing my best and trying to be a good actor and make sure I'm giving everybody what they want. It was only after we did that first game that suddenly, like, fandom exploded, and we're like, oh my god, Albedo, da-da-da. I'm like, I was just trying to do my job, you know? I was just trying to do the best I could at the moment. And so it's afterwards that I go back and I look and I go, oh, well, that's interesting. And then, of course, they had me play Negredo as well. And then in the second game, my two characters talk to each other over a mind link. And I'm like, thanks, guys. All right. How can I make this work? And then, of course, it's all alchemically based, because each one of the three characters are the stages in the process towards the Philosopher's Stone, the Negredo, the Albedo, and the Rubedo. Like, there's a whole alchemical thing going on in it I didn't realize until afterwards. And I went, oh, I see what they're doing. Yeah, but at the moment, I just, you know, wanted to kill little girls? I don't know. Albedo's just a crazy dude who is just, he's just maniacal. And I have a lot of fun playing those characters. It's typecasting.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You bet.
I was wondering if you could do some of the hand signs from the Jutsu.
Oh no!
No.
Sure, hang on a second. Right? I mean, you're all under a spell now. It takes 72 hours before you can leave this room.
I tried to do it, and kids would come and be like, this is how you do it. And I was like, okay. I'm not going to do that.
Also, request for the emo ninja.
Yeah.
Can you do one of the lines from the show? Maybe?
Sasuke, foolish little brother. You're too weak.
Hi, so you guys have both worked on anime. You a lot, you Naruto. What's your favorite anime or manga to watch and read?
Naruto.
Suck up.
What is?
There you go.
Plus I'm flipping the channels and I'm like, hey, I know that voice. Then I watch the show and I'm like, yeah, that's what happened. But you know, I don't see the other people's parts because we're moving fast, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes I'm like, what? Oh, wow. Like, You know, that's what they were talking about. But I like watching the show. Although sometimes I'm like, geez, I need more wine. I can't hear myself scream anymore.
Yeah. My favorite anime TV series is probably still The Vision of Escaflowne.
Oh.
Actually, the show that inspired me to become a voice actor. I desperately wanted to work on that show. I wanted to play Alan Shazar. But unfortunately, I don't have to go online, they email it to me. My inbox is full. I got all sorts of stuff, yeah.
I don't read the fan fiction.
Probably a smart idea.
Yeah. You know, once in a while I cruise the internet and I see some horrible thing someone's done. It's my voice coming out of some dirty picture. And I'm like, hey, this is why I don't do this. And the fan fiction I just stay away from because I always feel like it's a tricky business. You know, I do a lot of acting. And what's tricky about it is you don't want people to think, oh, somehow what I wrote ended up as a product in your show, or something like that. Like, you don't want to encourage that, like, people might think for some reason that an idea was stolen from them. So, I generally don't do that, just for that reason. And people have sent me stuff, and I just say, you know, I don't read this. Like, you know, it's like, this is my, because I don't want it to ever be like, wait a minute, that was my exact idea and you did it, you know, so I don't do that. And then the internet is like, you know, it's fun to read some of the stuff, and then sometimes you're like, geez, you know, I know you want to kill me, but that was just a cartoon character. You know? It's like, I don't care if you hate me, but don't kill me, you know. And then you read a lot of really nice stuff, which more than makes up for the other stuff that I read.
Yeah. I mean, yes, I see the fan art sometimes, which is nice. I don't really read...
Oh, I do like the fan art.
The fan art, yeah. I don't really read fan fiction, just because I'm busy, you know? But it's true that producers, directors, creators do have to be careful. That's why if you were to ever submit a script to a studio, say you wanted to get a writing job on a television series, you have to do it a certain way. You can't just send them the script through the mail and expect them to open it and read it, because it opens them up to liability in terms of possibility you suing them later for stealing their idea. There's a sort of a proper way that things have to be done in the industry in order for them to consider you as a professional. And so I realize that sometimes the fan base doesn't always understand that, especially with the internet now, because it allows people to just sort of instantly interact with each other, and this sort of instant community, you know, jumps up. But there is a certain method to the way the professional entertainment industry works, and it works that way for a reason. And so that usually sometimes becomes a barrier to interacting with things like fan fiction, because it could cause problems in the future, and we've got to get our job done. You know, that's sort of our primary focus here, is to get the show made so that you guys can enjoy it. You're welcome.
Hi.
Hi.
In Naruto, and in the personality of your character, what do you like the most and what do you hate the most?
I think what I like about Itachi the most is that he is just like me. Just like me, and I really like the bags underneath his eyes. I think what I appreciate about Itachi the most is actually my own fetish, which is he's very principled. He has a certain set of values that he believes in, and he has honed those values to sort of a razor-sharp pitch. And he will stick to those principles come hell or high water. He's decided what he believes in and what he thinks is important, and he is almost, you know, he cannot be swayed. That's also what I dislike about him. I dislike the fact that he's so myopic that he can't entertain the possibility of a different way of thinking about things, because, you know, it can cause a lot of heartache. So I'm both attracted to those kind of characters, and I think it's probably their Achilles heel.
For Naruto, I like that he's psychotic. I like that he's spirited. I like that he can fly, and I hate that there are trains but no cell phones. I'm like, why do they have trains? But
And
there's
TVs.
no other sort of mechanical thing in the show. Oh well. Look, you'll see what I'm talking about. It's like, well, if you can fly, do you need to take a train? I like that he's, you know, sort of emotionally all over the place. What do I hate? Sometimes it's like for no reason at all, he just kind of snaps. I'm like, why is he so upset?
Podcasting.
That's about it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
You bet.
Hello. I would like to know, are there any characters from anime or video game series that haven't been localized in English yet that you would love to voice if they're ever translated in English?
Ooh.
Yes. Well, one big one was Loveless. I really wanted to play Sobi in Loveless, but I think they're already doing a dub in New York, so I can't do that. But there's another show, a movie, Tokyo Godfathers, Satoshi Kon film, fantastic film. And in it, there's a character of Hana, who is this like 6-foot-tall drag queen that goes around Tokyo. Hi, I'm Hana. I so want to play Hana. It's so fantastic. Yeah. Yeah. And then obviously, I really wanted to play Ellen Shazar in Escaflowne, but I missed out on that one. But those are the only ones that leap to mind.
Yeah, I mean, I love the Tintin books when I was younger, so I always hoped that they would make, and they did, you know, end up making a cartoon and now a movie's coming out. But that would have been fun to work on. But I didn't. Win some, lose some.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi.
Hi.
This is Wolfsbane related.
Craziness.
Yeah.
Okay.
The panel's not called Wolf's Rain. No, I'm just kidding.
Do I need to moderate this for you?
What?
Do I need to moderate this for you?
No.
Well, you said that it was one of your favorites to work on.
Mhm.
Well, what do you like the most about it, and is there anything you don't like about it?
Well, I think, see, when I first started working on anime, I was in New York City, and I reached a sort of limit in New York City about how good we could make the dubs, and I was getting a little pushback from some of the producers. And I was really frustrated because I thought we could make these a lot better, and it wouldn't even cost any more money. And then I heard the Cowboy Bebop dub, which had just come out, and I was like, who are those people? I want to work with those people. And of course, it was Mary Elizabeth McGlynn who was directing Cowboy Bebop. And so I came out to LA, but by the time I got out there, they had already finished Cowboy Bebop, and so I couldn't work on it. But the next big show that was coming up was Wolf's Rain. And Wolf's Rain had almost the entire same production crew. Mary Elizabeth was directing again. It was the same animation studio. It was the same character designer. It was the same music composer. The only thing different was it wasn't Shinichiro Watanabe. It wasn't the same director. But that was cool because Wolf's Rain had this really deep mythological story to it that really fascinated me. And so, I mean, 4 wolves searching for paradise? Sign me up, you know? Like, this is really cool. And they're all cute boys. Yeah, off we go. And so I really fell in love with the show, and Mary Elizabeth and I were working on it together. And even though I wasn't, I mean, all I was doing was acting, but I was watching the episodes as we were getting them from Japan with her because she was adapting the script. And she would consult with me sometimes. She's like, so when they talk about paradise, can we translate that as heaven? And I go, but no, because heaven is technically a biblical term, and their notion of paradise is more Hindu. And so, you know, so I was trying to help her make sure that all the mythology in it was working really well and everything. And so I was totally obsessed with the show. But then, you know, my wife said, yeah, but Crispin, there's this story part here in the show that doesn't really make sense. And I'd be like, yeah, don't talk to me about that. I don't want to hear about that. So, you know, as much as I love Wolf's Rain, I think it's a fantastic show, and it moves me to tears. There's sections, there's one section, like episode 6 or something, where Kiba, as a wolf, he's fighting this robot thing that's shooting at him, and he starts running up this mountainside that's just ice. And you have this wolf running up the ice, a white wolf running up the ice with the moon in the background, and his bullets chasing, and I just start weeping. Like, I don't even know why. It just looks so beautiful, I can't help myself. But the world of Wolf's Rain is not terribly well defined. It's a little tricky sometimes to understand why is the world getting colder, what's actually going on, and that could have been clarified a lot. So there's stuff that's sort of gestured at, hinted at, but it would have helped deepen the emotional experience if the world building had been a little more clear. So that would be my main frustration. But what I do love about Wolf's Rain is that it has an ending. It starts, it goes, and if you watch all the way up to episode 30, it ends. There is none of this, we're going to sort of let it linger on and sort of die on the vine sort of thing. No. Like they deliver on the premise that they set up in the beginning of the show. That is hard many times in anime. There's a lot of anime that start off really well, Evangelion, and then sort of die at the end, they sort of peter out. And so it was really nice to be a part of a show that's like, no, this is what, because a story doesn't have meaning until it has an ending. Like it just doesn't have the meaning or resonance until it finishes. Batman didn't have the resonance that he has now until we had Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns. Until you had the sort of the Ragnarok, the ending, how the world ends. It's hard to understand what the world means. And that's what's wonderful about Wolf's Rain, is that the world ends and we know what it actually means.
Thank you.
You bet. I think I've seen you before.
Which are your least favorite characters from Naruto?
I'm sorry, say again?
Your least favorite characters from Naruto and why?
Hers.
Huh. You're getting in a lot of trouble here. I don't know, sometimes with Hinata, I'm like, come on. Get it out. Grow a pair.
I hate the entire Uchiha clan. There are no characters in Naruto that I hate, because I'm too in love with my brother. I only have eyes for you. Literally, here they are, take them. So yeah, no, I don't hate. Although Kisame gets on my nerves sometimes, but other than that, he's a fish. He smells.
Not hate, just like
strongly dislike. Wow.
I guess the problem is that Hinata. I don't know Hinata very well.
Yeah.
I don't have many scenes with her. Literally, my whole character is obsessed with my little brother. That's when you ask me what Naruto is about, I go, Naruto, who? It's all about Sasuke as far as I'm concerned. I don't know who this, yellow ninja
Show's not
is.
called Sasuke.
Yeah. I didn't realize that ninjas were orange. But, does that help you sneak around?
Sometimes we were green.
Oh yeah? Okay. So I don't really have a least favorite character, because that would mean that I would care about them, Because you don't hate someone unless you care about them, right? I mean, if you don't care about them, you can't possibly hate them because you don't know them. You have to know someone in order to hate them or dislike them. And I don't know anyone but Sasuke. I have no one matters but Sasuke. I swear.
Thanks. Hello. I was just wondering, this is Crispin. What was your favorite thing about Hellsing and your least favorite?
I think my favorite thing about Hellsing is probably the fact that it pulls no punches, that it goes right for the jugular, literally sometimes, because it's nice to have a show where you can pull out all the stops, because, and that's the satisfying thing about Alucard, is he's just a force of nature. He just can rip apart anything in his path. Which is why he wants to have this sort of dom-sub relationship with Integra, because when you're that powerful, you got to have somebody to put a leash on you. So that's what I think is great about Hellsing. In terms of my least favorite thing about Hellsing, I don't know if I have a least favorite thing. Sometimes the challenge with Hellsing is making sure that it works in translation, because the show is actually about England. And so there's all these references to English things, but sometimes the Japanese get it wrong. And so we have to go in and make sure that, you know, there is a village of Cheddar where there can be a church, you know, or you know, when they said Lancaster Church was where my bullets came from. And they're like, they mean Manchester, don't they? Don't they mean Manchester? Not Lancaster. You know, we'd have to look up and they're like, no, there actually is a Lancaster and it actually has a church. Okay, we'll say Lancaster. You know, so that's usually the challenge with stuff. Especially the alchemical stuff, which they got better at. You know, the bird of Hermes is my name, eating my wings to make me tame. This is from the Ripley Scrolls. This is classic alchemical hermetical text. And the first time they did it, they totally mistranslated it. It didn't make any sense. And luckily they corrected it later. And Taliesin, who's the voice director on Hellsing, is probably the most knowledgeable person about the occult that I know of. If I need to know something about Aleister Crowley, I go straight to Taliesin and say, educate me. My experience and my knowledge is in comparative religions. I look at stuff more broadly and more globally, and I'm looking at large patterns in Buddhism and Hinduism and Christianity and Judaism and Islam. But I don't know the ins and outs of, you know, the tarot card deck and all the different occult meanings that might be happening in the hermetical texts and everything else. I've been learning about them more recently. But that's, you know, when Taliesin writes in, has me quoting from the Book of Enoch, you know, when that's coming out of my mouth as Alucard in Hellsing, you know, that's fantastic. But it's also mind-numbing because we have to make sure. I mean, he translated the Theban on the back of Alucard's gloves. I mean, that's how far Taliesin goes to make sure that we're, you know, he makes sure that the whole Templar ritual with Integre in the TV series is accurate. When I talk to the Queen, there's a certain way you talk to the Queen. There's a way you do that. And if you don't do that right, it doesn't sound right to people from the UK. And so, you know, Taliesin is obsessive about this stuff to make sure. So it's exhausting. But it comes out well in the end. And we have to make the De Freischutz references work well. You know, when we're singing in German to Van Winkle, you know, we have to make sure that, you know, we've got the call on Maria von Weber in there properly because, you know, that's what's inspiring Wagner and Montana Max and all the Nazis and I forgot, yeah. More than you ever wanted to know.
Hello?
Hello.
Well, my question is basically, maybe a few weeks ago I was watching Naruto and I saw a documentary when all the characters were recording, and it made me think, don't you think you need to feel the chapter in yourself to can act like him? I mean, for example, like you said before, Itachi is obsessed with Sasuke. So maybe you're obsessed with something, or you don't surrender, I don't know. I mean, maybe you have to be like the character too.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think, you know, as an actor, your challenge is always to feel what the character is feeling, you know. And in animation, you do that sometimes even more than on camera, because you have to make it alive through the microphone. You know, they're not seeing your face, they're not seeing your reactions. So, I mean, I think, you know, you have to reach deep when you have to do dramatic stuff. You know, when you're going to cry, you have to think about, if it's a really dramatic thing, you have to put yourself into that place, you know. And sometimes you come in, you know, just like any other job, you come in and you've had you know, traffic was bad or something happened, you know, or I don't know, your sink broke or something like that. And then you're playing this really funny scene and you just have to get in a better mood and pull it off, you know. We have a really good time recording Naruto. It's so much fun. I can't even tell you. It's just so much fun. And it's just a great team, Mary Elizabeth, and then we have these engineers that are engineering, and I mean, we've been doing it for a long time. And the studio is great, and so, yeah, you have to relate to the character in some way, because otherwise it comes off as really flat. I mean, you can tell the difference between bad actors and good actors, you know, or you can tell the difference between bad productions and good productions, because you don't believe them. So, I mean,
Every actor has their own process for trying to create a believable performance, because that's what we want. There's nothing real about what we're doing, right? Even in live action film, it's not real. You don't suddenly cut from one angle to another in real life. You know, but what you want is for it to be believable. And what does it take for the character to seem believable? And it totally depends on each actor. And I'm very fond of Duke Ellington's phrase. when he was talking about music. He said, if it sounds good, it is good. Period. So if you have to do whatever it takes. If you're the kind of actor who really likes to, remember a certain emotional situation because it helps you get in the moment with that character, great. If you're the kind of actor who hates doing that kind of thing and you'd rather do it another way, as long as it sounds good, it is good, I like to play pretend, because I have not gone and killed an entire clan full of people. And if I had, yes, it's on my list. Bucket list. Uchiha clan, dead. I have to play pretend, and that's the joy for me. There are times when I will remember things in my past and go, oh right, there was that thing that happened that did that thing and it made me feel this way. Ooh, maybe I could bring that to the performance too. But there are other times when I have to play things I have absolutely no personal experience with. How am I supposed to play that? I play pretend. I do my best to play pretend in the moment and do the best. And then sometimes stuff comes out of me that I didn't even know was there. So it totally depends on the actor. Every actor has their own process.
Thank you very much.
You have a watch.
It says 5 minutes left.
It says 5 minutes left on his watch. There you go.
What do you think of the rivalry from Naruto and Sasuke?
Ooh. It's fun. It's fun to play. I think it's, it wouldn't be that interesting if, like you said, if they didn't care about one another deeply,
Aww.
Oh
my god.
I think it's very personal, and it's taken very seriously, sort of throughout the whole series, and I think that it adds another layer to the show. I mean it's the heart of the show now, of course, but I think it just adds so much depth to the whole series, because in the back of every scene, you know that that's still there. Their rivalry and their love for one another, well, not so much Sasuke's for Naruto's, but yeah, I don't know.
There is no rivalry. There is only Sasuke.
Yeah, that's about it. Thanks.
You bet.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. Kind of. Okay. So if Kishimoto allowed you to change the character, like the personality for Naruto and Itachi, okay, what personality of them would you like to change? Like what traits would you change?
Nothing.
So you keep it like that?
Yeah. No, I mean, this is the thing. I don't know, Maile can respond her own way. For me, I like to be a part of a show that is written well. I would much rather play a small part in a really good show than be the lead in a show that doesn't make any sense. And I can usually suss it pretty quickly. When they handed me Itachi and I started playing him, I said, okay, if this story is worth its salt, if it's any good at all, I have a feeling Itachi cares about his brother, and that's what, there's a certain pattern to storytelling. And I thought, I think that's what's going to happen. And sure enough, it does. And so as an actor, I'm satisfied. I go, great, then the story is working, it's firing on all pistons, I'm a happy camper, even if I only show up every once again and go, Sasuke, I'm cool. That's fine. Much better than, oh no, Itachi is actually an alien from outer space. He's a sea monkey and he's going to do it now. No. So as far as I'm concerned, when I see a story that is crafted well, I go, thank you, happy to play in a good playground, I'm happy.
I like money. I have made a lot of money playing Naruto, so I would not change a damn thing.
Okay, and the last thing is a request for Crispin Freeman. My friend, she could not be here, and she asked me to ask you, can you say a very yaoi line in Itachi?
Oh, God.
What line would that be?
If anyone's fine to Sasuke. Or take it as a leader from your, take it as an order from your brigade leader.
Okay, but I need a script. You gotta give me a line. You gotta give me a line.
Put your pants back on.
Anyone's not a good line, that's just a word.
Okay,
The director is also the writer, so ADR director, or alter director, give me the line.
Sasuke, get into my bed.
No. Cold at night.
Oh my god.
Sasuke, are you cold? Get into my bed.
Thank you.
You heard him go. Okay. Oh my gosh. I'm not gonna sleep at night.
I have a request. If you could say someday I'm gonna be Hokage.
If I can say what?
Someday I'm gonna be Hokage.
Something of the what?
Someday I'll be Hokage.
Someday I'm gonna be Hokage.
Oh, okay.
That's
It's like 9 a.m. LA time. My name's Naruto Uzumaki. Someday I'm gonna be Hokage. No problemo.
Hi, this is a Durara request for Mr. Freeman.
Yes.
Can you please say Izaya and Shizuo as well?
Oh god.
Uzumaki.
Like that.
What, that wasn't enough for you? You want more than that? Okay. Izaya!
I have a question for Crispin about
I'll find him and hopefully he'll
about Slayers. What was your favorite thing about Slayers, and what was like about working on Slayers, and what was your least favorite thing?
Wow, is this like a Montreal thing? Like, what's your favorite and least favorite thing? I never get these questions in America. This is fascinating. I think my favorite thing about Slayers was the dynamic between the four main characters of Lena, Gowry, Amelia, and Selgadis. They make a really good dysfunctional family together. And they were frankly cast really well with Lisa Ortiz and Eric Stewart and Veronica and me. I think they found the right chemistry to make the four of us work together well. And so the wonderful thing about Slayers is that we have all this hilarious back and forth slapstick comedy stuff. And then all of a sudden, the fate of the world rests on the shoulders of one flat-chested little sorceress, you know. And it's like, but it's deadly serious, and that's what I love about it is that Lena can get deadly serious and incredibly capable as a sorceress, and then is banging Gowry over the head because he's being a yogurt brain. So I think that's as far as least favorite. I think least favorite is that it's stopped. And I get to keep going. So you bet.
All right, well, everyone, thank you very much for coming to this wonderful Q&A. Thank you very much, Maile and Crispin.
I know. I'm really bummed about that.
Why didn't do anything on nutrition?
Otakuthon, so feel free to check out your program book. And if you're interested in Alko Momoe, she will be here in a few